The knock at 3 a.m. It was the sound of knocking that woke me. 3 sharp raps against the front door. I froze in bed, staring at the ceiling. My phone screen glowed. 3:07 a.m. No one should be knocking at that hour. For a while, I convinced myself it was a dream, the kind of half sound your brain invents when it's too quiet. Then the knocking came again, this time louder, more urgent. I slipped out of bed and padded barefoot to the hall. The house was still, the air heavy, as though the walls themselves were holding their breath. I reached the front door but didn't open it. Instead, I pressed my eye to the peephole. No one was there. The porch light spilled across the empty steps, catching only the sway of the branches. My hand lingered on the lock, torn between double bolting it and opening it just to prove I wasn't losing my mind. Before I could decide, the knocking sounded again, directly against the wood beneath my hand. I stumbled back. My heart was hammering so loudly I barely heard the soft voice that followed. "Let me in." It wasn't a shout. It wasn't even a plea. Just a flat, even statement. I whispered, "Who's there?" Silence. I waited, straining to hear past the rush of blood in my ears. Then, so close it might have been whispered through the doorframe, "We need to come inside." We. The word made me step back into the hall. I wanted to grab my phone, but it was still in the bedroom, and going back there meant turning my back on the door. I couldn't. The knocks grew harder, faster, until the frame rattled. And then they stopped. The silence was worse than the sound. I stood in the hall for what felt like forever, staring at the door. Slowly, I reached for the blinds covering the front window. I peeled one slat down and looked outside. 2 children stood in the yard. A boy and a girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old. Both pale, too pale, as though the moonlight had seeped into their skin. They stood side by side, their faces turned up toward me. At first, I thought their eyes were shadowed, that the porch light didn't quite reach them. Then the girl tilted her head, and I saw them clearly. Black. Completely black. I dropped the blinds as if they'd burned me. My breath came in short, ragged gasps. Every instinct screamed to run, but my body wouldn't obey. From the other side of the window came that voice again, closer, clearer. "Let us in." "We can't come in unless you open the door." I didn't answer. My legs finally unlocked, and I backed into the kitchen. My hands shook so badly I could barely grab the knife from the counter. I held it like a lifeline, eyes darting from window to window. The knocking started again, not at the door this time, but against the glass. A faint tap, 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 as tiny fists wrapped along the windows. I forced myself to glance. Both children stood at the kitchen window now, faces pressed to the glass. Their mouths moved in unison, whispering words I couldn't hear, but I knew the rhythm. Over and over, "Let us in, let us in, let us in." I stumbled backward into the hall, the knife slipping from my hand. I didn't dare turn on any lights, didn't dare draw more attention. I pressed myself against the wall, shaking so violently I thought my bones might crack, and then silence again. I waited, seconds, minutes, I couldn't tell. Eventually, I crept back to the kitchen window. My breath fogged the glass as I leaned close. They were gone. Relief hit me so hard I almost sobbed. I wanted to believe it was over, that whatever I had seen was gone. I staggered back toward my bedroom, desperate for my phone. But as I reached for it, the screen lit up on its own. A text message. Unknown number. "We're inside.